Ready to make a real impact every day? Join the Active Day Home Care team and help clients maintain their independence in the comfort of their own homes. Make a difference in someone's life as you provide essential daily assistance and protect their health and happiness. Earn up to $20 an hour and enjoy additional perks like optional daily pay, 401k, paid time off, ongoing educational training, and more. Join a team that values care, compassion, and your professional growth. Visit ActiveDay.com to apply.
Hi, I'm Richard Karn, and you may have seen me on TV talking about the world's #1 expandable garden hose. Well, the brand new Pocket Hose Copperhead with Pocket Pivot is here, and it's a total game changer. Old-fashioned hoses get kinks and creases at the spigot, but the Copperhead's Pocket Pivot swivels 360 degrees for full water flow and freedom to water with ease all around your home. When you're all done, this rust-proof anti-burst hose shrinks back down to pocket size for effortless handling and tidy storage. Plus, your super light and ultra-durable Pocket Hose Copperhead is backed with a 10-year warranty. What could be better than that? I'll tell you what, an exciting radio-exclusive offer just for you. For a limited time, you can get a free Pocket Pivot and their 10-pattern sprayer with the purchase of any size Copperhead hose. Just text WATER to 64,000. That's WATER to 64,000 for your 2 free gifts with purchase. WATER to 64,000.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from Pocket Hose. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at pockethose.com/terms.
Attention! You're listening to the Todd Huff Radio Show, America's home for conservative, not bitter talk radio. Be advised that the content of this program has been documented to prevent and even cure liberalism, and listening may cause you to lean to the right. Here's your conservative, but not bitter host, Todd Huff.
Well, that is right, my friends. You have successfully and wisely tuned in to America's home for conservative, not bitter talk. I'm your host, the one, the only, the ever so beloved, Todd Huff. It's good to be here today, my friends. Went to Game 6 last night. And loved every minute of it. I'm going to talk about it. I warned you in advance for those who have issues with me talking about this too much. I'm sorry. This is a great thing. There's actually a lot of teachable, I think, moments and lessons in this entire thing, including how the media, the sports media in particular here, has gotten this wrong from the beginning. They're unable or unwilling to tell the sports fans watching this, which now the series is tied 3-3, going to Game 7 on Sunday night, I guess. Is that right? Yeah, 2 days off here, and then Sunday night, Game 7, winner take all. So I want to talk about that. I also want to give you an update. I was out yesterday, not because of the game. I wanted to tell you as to why. This was an unexpected absence here, an unplanned absence from yours truly. I want to update you on that. And then, folks, I know there's been a lot of stuff, heavy stuff in the news. And today, there's some things I want to talk about as far as just the overall, the culture war, the political battle that we're engaged in with the radicals. And I want to talk about some of these stories and anecdotes and examples of things that aren't quite as heavy, but they still illustrate, demonstrate some of these key differences between these worldviews, this battle for political and, dare I say, worldview supremacy here in the United States. And it's an important battle that we absolutely must win. So I want to talk about that. I've got some examples, some sound bites of some crazy things that are being said out there by people on the radical left, and so we'll get to that in due course. Before I do that, though, my friends, Mike Lindell, MyPillow, they want to thank you for your continued support. Mike has a passion to help everyone get the best sleep of their lives. He didn't stop by creating the best pillow. He created the best bed sheets as well. Mike is offering the best deal on his Percale bed sheets. You can get a set of those, for as low as $24.98 now. MyPillow Percale sheets are a breathable sheet that has a cool and crisp feel. They have deep pockets to fit over any size mattress you may have. They look and feel great, which means an even better night's sleep, my friends, for those of you who have those busy schedules and the lots of things to juggle. So, also, for a limited time, when you place an order over $100, you will receive $100 in some free digital gifts. Go to MyPillow.com, use promo code TODD to receive the MyPillow Percale bed sheets for as low as $24.98. Again, MyPillow.com, promo code TODD to get that special. Check it out, my friends. MyPillow.com, promo code TODD. All right. So, the first thing I'll do is give you a quick update. Yesterday, I was not here. And I'll tell you what happened in a brief nutshell. You know, for those of you who've listened, this story, by the way, has a good end, a good ending. Let me start by saying that. The story has a good ending, and not to ruin the story, but it's a story that has the possibility to have a really tragic ending. And I just want to make sure you know that the ending of the story, at least as I'm telling it right now, is good. So hang in there as I tell the story. On Wednesday, if you live in this part of the country, you'll know sometime around, late afternoon or early evening, late afternoon, a line of storms went through this area. Pretty bad. In fact, winds were close to 80 miles an hour in places. I was with my daughter at a restaurant, and the winds were clocked. We were in Plainfield, but the winds were clocked at 71 miles an hour at the airport. Nasty storm went through. And storm went through our home area. No damage or anything like that. Just the storm caused some havoc. People, when you live out in the plains like we do, you can see forever. It's flat, it's windy. And so when storms go through, it is a different experience than if you're in a place where there's hills and trees. It's just a different experience. I mean, it can be scary, to be quite honest. So storms go through, that causes a break in the pattern in the home. My wife has been, she's had some dental issues lately, and so she had been taking some ibuprofen to help with she had a dental visit, earlier this week, I guess. And so she had been taking some Aleve on occasion to help the pain. Well, long story short, with all of the chaos with the storm going through and just the pain medication, or the ibuprofen, I should say, being around, the pup got into the pill bottle. Now, it wasn't open. The pup, this is Kilo, you've heard me talk about the dogs, the pup chewed through the bottle and proceeded to eat ibuprofen tablets. This was discovered shortly after it happened, and it involved me on Wednesday night taking Kilo to the emergency room. And I have to tell you, that's why I told you at the beginning, this story has a good ending. The closer I got, I would say it's a 20 to 25 minute drive to that's another thing. You can't just call up your vet after hours, at least most of these. And we got a great vet. I'm not criticizing, but you got to go to these specialty places, these emergency rooms. I mean, obviously, this dog needed to be treated or he was going to not survive. In fact, I wasn't sure he was going to survive with the treatment. So I'm driving up there, probably breaking some, potentially, allegedly, and we can't prove this, pushing the speed limit laws and so forth, just to get there. It was an emergency situation. I didn't think that the dog was going to I thought the dog was going to die in the front seat. He wasn't in pain, but you could tell, probably because he had numbed anything, eating all those ibuprofen. But it was basically making him incredibly drowsy. And so I was, trying to keep him awake. He had vomited on the floorboard. I mean, it was wild. We've all been in these situations. Pull in, take the dog inside. I had been in communication with this clinic, this emergency clinic, on my way up there on the west side of Indianapolis. And walk in the door, and I'm like, hey, I'm the one that called you about the dog. Here he is. They said, sir, we don't have any rooms. And I looked at them like, you got to be kidding me. She said, we can still triage him. The nurse came out at some point. I don't remember. It was kind of a blur. But I do remember one thing that was said to me. And it went through me. I got to tell you. The person at the counter said, she said, sir, the most important thing is to fill out the paperwork. And I said, it absolutely is not. The most important thing is to get someone over here to provide treatment for this dog that very well may not make it here for the next few minutes. So I filled out their, which I get. I'm not criticizing the paperwork. I'm criticizing the approach. I'm a reasonable and understanding guy, but you don't tell someone who's in a crisis mode the most important thing is some piece of paper that I would given them anything on it at any point in time. But the most important thing is trying to save the dog. So I go in there, give them the dog, and I mean, it didn't look very good. It didn't look very good at all. In fact, when I left, they took him back. They put him on an IV, all this stuff. This dog, by the way, I guess is about 9 months old. Kilo. He's a 14-pound Maltipoo. I never thought in my lifetime I would have I'm not a little dog guy. I'm a big dog guy. I'm not saying it has to be a huge dog, but, when I used to live on the horse farm, I had a lab and some sort of, probably a 40-pound dog, mixed breed or whatever. And they would follow me around. They would, jump in the back of the truck. We would drive around the farm, take care of the horses, do whatever we had to do. They would sniff around, go explore, come with me when I went to the next place and all that. So never thought I'd be a little dog guy. I like this little fella. He's a Maltipoo. He's 14, 13 pounds, something like that. And he ate, we don't know how many pills he ate because the bottle, it was a bottle that holds 100. And some of them, of course, my wife had been taking them, and we might have had the bottle for a while. We might have taken them for other things. And there were pills left over, but we don't know how many he had eaten. And the more I think about this, I mean, it's likely that this was, a dozen or more, maybe 20. I don't have any idea. Anyway, so get there. It's not looking good. In fact, before I leave, the doctor told me there's like a scale, right? There's, you could have stomach issues, ulcers and that sort of thing. You could have liver and kidney damage from this sort of thing. And then at the top of the list is neurological problems. And he said, this dog is displaying neurological problems. He said, I've never seen a dose that high. So I thought, oh boy, this is great. So I come home. Everybody's upset. They tell us no news is good news. He's going to keep him overnight. You got to come and get him. This is where I'm getting to for yesterday. You have to pick him up by 8 in the morning. This is a clinic that opens at 6 p.m. and it stays open until 8 a.m. because they're after hours. That's their job. And they shut up. They close it up. They don't keep the dog after 8. So you have to go get it. And not having really any idea what we were getting into, I didn't want to send my wife by herself to get the dog. And so we had to take the dog from there to another vet. I didn't know if this dog was going to be, we had no idea. We didn't know if he was going to be, on the verge of death. I had no idea. We didn't know if we got there what they were going to tell us. This dog's not going to make it through the day. We just didn't know. And so we had to deal with that yesterday. He went to the other vet yesterday, was on IV all day. We then took him back last night. I said we. My wife took him last night and picked him up again this morning. I didn't go this time as I'm doing the program because I want to do the program, but also I can't do all these things and get this stuff done, but he's better. He's been released. He's healthy. We still got to watch him. He's got some medication, but hats off to the doctors. And I thanked them on yesterday morning. Boy, this is all a blur. I asked the nurse after the doctor had come in, after I had dealt with just processing everything. I said, can I talk to the doctor again? I said, I don't have any questions or complaints. I just really want to say thank you. And I told him, I said, thank you. I said, we dropped this dog off, and I said, I really didn't think he was going to make it. And I said, you've made a whole family of people happy, and I'm sure you hear a lot of bad things, and people are, you see them at their worst if their pet's hurting or, God forbid, passing away or whatever. And I said, thank you. So that's where I was yesterday. Kilo is back at it here in the Huff household. He is okay. And so that hopefully is behind us. We're not completely out of the woods, but he keeps checking off. The blood tests are back. He looks good there and all this stuff. The neurological symptom that they flushed it from the system. He responded very well to certain medications and treatments and so forth. And so here we are. So that's where I was yesterday. Now, let me talk to you about the other thing that I want to spend a little bit of time on. Game 6 of the Pacers. Now, it's Pacers Thunder. Had the privilege and honor of going last night with my brother and a couple other guys from his office. But I want to talk about this. And I'm a sports fan. And I know some of you are not. Let me just say, as I think I've said before when talking about this, there's a lot more to this than sports. See, to me, sports transcends the actual athletic competition. Sports is symbolic. Sports is something that, we look forward to. That represents a bigger battle that we all face. I think it's one of the reasons why we get so, for those of us who like sports, we get so into it, is because we all have a battle, or maybe many battles, that we're fighting. And some of those battles, we don't know how much longer we have to fight them. Are we about to have a breakthrough? Do we have years of more difficulty in this battle? Will it ever be completely solved this side of heaven? I mean, we don't know. We don't know those things. And with sports, there's an end to the season. Game 7 is on Sunday night. There will not be a Game 8. There can't be a Game 8. This is the last game of the season. It could have been the last game of the season last night. And I think, even if it was and we didn't know it was the last game, you still know this is a 48-minute game. There's 6 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. I know that this battle that I'm emotionally invested in, even though it's just sports athletic competition, it's exciting. It's not some people think it's scripted, but it's not scripted in the sense of, you're going to go down here and make this shot. There's a lot more to it than that. I'm not saying the NBA doesn't have an interest in certain things being the case and all that, but I am going to say it's not scripted, at least certainly to the extent of not being scripted play-by-play. They're very talented, but no one's that good. Everybody has an off night and all of that. Last night, the Pacers did not have an off night. They basically throttled the Oklahoma City Thunder, which may or may not mean anything when it comes to Sunday's Game 7. I mean, in one sense, Game 7's a fresh start, but psychologically, I don't know. I don't know if that's going to impact the game at all. But there's a lot of things that I think we can learn from sports that apply to these other things that are happening in our world. So one of the things is, if you've listened, and this is a pet peeve of mine, one of the things maybe at the top of the list in this whole series is the Pacers have been underestimated. They've been underestimated. The Pacers have been viewed as this outsider, this freak sort of happen chance situation scenario. And listen, I'm not saying they didn't They haven't gotten hot at the right time or anything like that. But I watched the majority of these games, the vast majority. I would say there's 82 games in the regular season. I watched, 70 of them with my daughters and my son. It's just something that they like to do, and we all do as a group. And we might have watched 78 of them. I don't even know the ones that we missed. I'm just saying I know I missed one here or there, and we watch. And we all could see the potential of this team. There's a lot of players. There's a lot of depth. In fact, the Pacers, if you were to list your starting five, your next group of five, and then even your third group of five, the Pacers are they have talented players all the way down. Now, this is where it gets interesting to me. The experts, this is where there's a lot of similarities, a lot of connections to how people talk about politics, right? So I think of the sports media in the same way I think of the political media, the news media. They have certain things that they look for in a candidate, in an issue. Just like the sports media has certain things they look for in a team, in a player. And I'm telling you, I don't know if it's conscious or unconsciously, or subconsciously, I should say, but the people in the sports media, they find the people, the athletes that they like their style, they like maybe something about their personality. It's almost like a popularity contest. Whoever can be framed as the cool kid, so to speak, the cool kid in high school, the popular kid, that's the one. A company that, of course, you have to have skill. That's goes without saying. Everybody in the NBA has skills. There's a former player named Brian Scalabrine, and he'll play pickup basketball games. He's retired. He'll play pickup games one-on-one against some people who think that they are, fantastic basketball players, just recreational type players or one-on-one guys, people that didn't go to the NBA. And he smokes them. He's a big, strong guy, and he made the comment once that he's closer to LeBron James in basketball skill than the person he's playing is to his skill. And I think there's a lot of truth to that. We don't grasp how good these players are. In fact, when I have my daughters in particular, they want to get to games when the gates open. We're one of the first people in. We go down there, they get autographs. I watch the players warm up because I'm there with my daughters. And if you watch these guys shoot when they're warming up, even the guys that you don't necessarily think are good players, they will hit. I've seen Tyrese Halliburton hit shots 8 feet behind the three-point line, 10 in a row. I don't know if it's 10 out of 12 or something. It's just one after another. And the skill set is incredible. And so when you have a skill set and you have some talent and you have the sports media who, listen, they love to feel like they're on the inside, the in crowd, and they can tell you this is the best player, SGA this, Nikola Jokic that, Giannis Antetokounmpo that, whatever. And I'm not taking anyone. These are all great players. In fact, I think personally Jokic is the most talented player. Not the most athletic, but the most overall talented player. SGA is a fantastic player. He won the MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's won the MVP. But they decide, there's like this group mindset that says, this is the cool team. They have the cool players. They got the athletes. These are the next generation of legends or whatever. And the NBA is all in on the Oklahoma City Thunder, which is fine. I actually like the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think if the Pacers weren't in it, I probably would be pulling for the Oklahoma City Thunder. But there's a lot of lessons here that I want to get into, and candidly, I'm out of time this segment. Quick timeouts in order, my friends. Sit tight. Back in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. Again, talking a little bit about Game 6 last night. Yes, my friends, there will be a Game 7 because the Pacers, at least last night, beat the snot out of the Oklahoma City Thunder. By the way, our seats, we were sitting amongst Oklahoma City fans. I don't know how these seats are assigned. I made friends with some Oklahoma City people. Good people. Again, I got nothing against the team. I wanna beat them, and that's all I'm thinking about right now. But again, as I said last segment, at the end of last segment, we've got a team here that I think I like a lot. They've decided, the NBA, the sports media have decided Oklahoma City is the next, the next Warriors team or the next Bulls team or whatever. And, these people in media, they have to fill their time. They have to have something to talk about. You've seen, I'm sure, at the bottom of a screen, if you look up, if you're out, if you're at a sports bar, maybe you watch this stuff at home, and you'll glance up and you'll see it says something like, who's the greatest player ever? Or could the 2025 Thunder beat the 2000 and whatever, 16 or 18, whatever it was, Warriors, or the 96 Bulls? Where is Shai Gilgeous-Alexander among, the greatest basketball players of all time? And all of these things. And that's what they talk about. It's all speculation. It's all conjecture. There's no way to quantify this. You can't have the 96 Bulls playing against the 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder. Even if you could, what year do you play that in? If you play that in 2025, wouldn't the Bulls team have adjusted to 2025, the way the game was played? Wouldn't Michael Jordan's game be different? All these things. But this is what people talk about it. They have strong feelings and opinions about this, and they can never be wrong because there's no way to prove it. There's no way to prove it. And that, I think, almost emboldens them to say some truly outlandish and ridiculous things. And they've given the Pacers literally no credit whatsoever. Now, again, this is about basketball for me, but it's about something greater. It's the same thing. In 2016, do you remember Ann Coulter? I remember this well. I just saw this clip, I'm going to say the other day, but it's been in the past couple of months. I saw the clip when she was on Bill Maher. Bill Maher posed a question to his guest. In 2016, this was back when there were 17 Republican contenders for the nomination. And there really were 16 politicians and then a guy named Donald Trump. And it was still early in the process, and Bill Maher asked the panel, at this point, who seems to be the most likely Republican nominee on that stage. And Ann Coulter said, Donald Trump, to which she was openly mocked and ridiculed. The fans, the audience, I should say, laughed in her proverbial face. You could tell from the video she was uncomfortable. She felt embarrassed, but that's what she thought. And so this is how this stuff is done. But see, the difference in politics, there's certainly similarities, because just like you're not going to be able to prove to a LeBron fan that Michael Jordan is the best ever, and by the way, that is true. LeBron is not the GOAT. He's very good, but not the GOAT, my friends. But even that's my opinion, right? You can't come out and prove it. And so with politics, you can prove it a little bit, right? Because you can say, well, those ideas have been implemented. Those ideas have been implemented by the Soviet Union, and look at what happened. Those ideas have, these utopian ideas had been spoken by Joseph Stalin, by Mao Zedong, and people could, again, you can see the havoc, the death and destruction, the carnage in the wake of these leaders whose ideology was put into practice. 100 million people died in the 20th century at the hands of their own government. But see, even though that's evidence, even though that's a step ahead of making and having an argument between the 96 Bulls and the 2025 Thunder, which team is greater, sort of talk. The reality is you can't prove the basketball one, but at least with the politics, you can at least make a case. You can cite what happened when these ideas were implemented. But then what you can't account for are the excuses that come along with that. I remember back when I was in college, I told you one of the last courses I took in college was a class called Is Capitalism Really Better? It was a 300-level political science course at Butler University. And we spent the semester comparing, contrasting, talking about communism, free market capitalism, the West versus communism, and all of that. At the conclusion of the class, we took a vote. There were 8 students, 4 males, 4 females. Take from this whatever you will. I'm just telling you the facts. The 4 boys, the 4 guys voted for capitalism. The 4 women in the course voted for communism, saying that it was better. But the excuse always given by the professor, who was at best very sympathetic to communism, and at worst was a supporter of communism. I tend to believe he was a supporter, defender of communism. But whatever the case, one of the things he told our class, or one of the arguments in favor, given by those, an argument made, I should say, by those who defend communism, is that the reason it failed was because they didn't have the right person at the helm. They didn't have the benevolent leader. That, by the way, if you want to know a little bit of insight into this program, that's one of the reasons why I call myself the benevolent dictator behind the microphone, is to mock that thinking. People misunderstand. They think, my goodness, what's this guy think of himself? No, it's dramatic. By the way, that's good. That's good political drama, political theater, versus the shenanigans the left is trying to pull by getting handcuffed when they're obstructing ICE, or Cory Booker, Corey Spartacus's speeches and all that sort of nonsense. But I say it for a reason, to illustrate. I'm saying it to mock the other side, the people who think that they're truly the benevolent dictator. I'm mocking those, not for the sake of just putting them down, but to tear apart the idea, to decimate the idea that says that there is such a thing as a benevolent dictator, that all we need for peace on earth is communism and the right person to run the show, because that is a dangerous, it has cost lives. It has cost 100 million lives in the 20th century alone. And so the evidence that free market capitalism, that constitutional conservatism, that Christianity, that Western thought are superior to other ideologies and so forth is clear. And you actually can compare that a little bit more than you can compare, again, the 96 Bulls against a hypothetical matchup with the 2025 Oklahoma City Thunder, just as an example. And so, but people will still give their excuses. So you've got people who are defending the Oklahoma City Thunder at all costs. They're completely in the tank for them. And again, I actually like this team. I do. I like this team. And if the Pacers weren't in it, I'd probably be rooting for them against. I mean, I don't know who else could come out of the East that I would be rooting for. I kind of liked Boston, I guess. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure. But the bottom line is there's similarities. There's also similarities between what they're looking for. The sports media is looking for a certain type of player. The political media is looking for a politician who pushes a leftist agenda. It's because the media is being run by people. I call it one of the 7 pillars of propaganda. It's being run by people who are ideological leftists. And so they use their platform, they use their particular pillar of society to push their agenda. And so they're looking for people that they can prop up that meet their criteria. So I got more to say on this. I'm just looking at the clock, and I got to take a break here. My friends, before I do that, though, if you're in sales, let me ask you, are you where you want to be? Are you having the success? Are you making the money? Are you struggling? Are you looking to grow? Do you want to get a little bit better? Whatever the case, my friends, Matt Easton and Easton University are here to help you. And They have a sales training system that I think is as good and probably it's better. It's as good as anything that I'm aware of and probably better. Matt Easton and Easton University have a system that's designed to help you maximize your skills and help you get where you need to be. So for more information and to sign up, go to toddhuffshow.com/Easton, EASTON. And if you sign up through that link, you're going to get a bonus of a welcome call with Matt Easton himself, where he will walk you through your personal, specific sales challenges to get you on track. Quick timeout, my friends. Back in just a minute. Welcome back, my friends. Been talking here about the Pacers, but listen, not just about the Pacers. Some of the things that we can learn from this and how it applies to the rest of what we experience in media in general. But the left is, well, I don't mean the left here. The sports media, which, by the way, is almost always the left. A lot of these sports media people are further to the left than the political media is. But anyway, in this case, I'm not referencing their politics just as much as just, they're being in the media. But they're clearly in the tank. They want Oklahoma City to win for whatever their reasons. And I think in the media you should be fair-minded. Actually, that's a requirement to be a journalist. But sports media is a little bit different because these are people who are paid to be commentators. That's a different job than someone who's doing a play-by-play. Of course, Reggie Miller, the Pacer, he was doing the Eastern Conference Finals, which was perfect for me as a Pacers fan. And I actually thought Reggie was pretty unbiased. But people who were on the Knicks clearly didn't think so, and I can understand and respect that. And maybe they're even right. But the bottom line here is that they're all polling for Oklahoma City Thunder, and no attention's being paid to the Pacers at all. In fact, of course, I was at the game as I shared, so I didn't hear the commentary from the announcer or from the analysts and the play-by-play during the game. But my wife had said something about, they're just now saying maybe we've overlooked the Pacers. And I'm thinking, my goodness, they're one game away. They've won 15 playoff games. They're one game away from winning the championship, and they may not do it. I don't know. I think that they will. I don't know. It could be a fantastic game here. But if you listen to the announcers and the so-called experts, that's another group of people that I want to point out here. They've just been wrong. They've been routinely wrong. They've underestimated the importance of teamwork. The Pacers have a team top to bottom, as I referenced earlier. Their top-level guy might not be able to score 50 or 60 points, but they've got 8, maybe 10 guys that can score 20 points on any given night. If you watch, you see TJ McConnell come out, and people say, wow, this is surprising. No, it's not. Not if you've watched the team all season. Or Benedict Mathurin, who's much more inconsistent, but he has moments where he looks borderline unstoppable as well. These are guys that are coming off the Pacers bench. Obi Toppin had 20 points last night. We just, time and time again, we have players. I say we. I know I'm not on the team, but yes, I feel like I am. And I'm invested in this team, and I have been for 30 years. So it's we to me. But this team is, it's a team concept, right? It's a team concept. They're moving the ball. They're passing. They're not just throwing the ball to the guy that they think can score the most points and the rest of the guys stand around. It's good basketball. It's good team basketball. And this reminds me of the way America works. Like, this is what, again, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but capitalism is when people are working for their own self-interest, but they're working together, being kind of led by what Adam Smith would call the invisible hand. Right? All of our interests are tied together, and we need to work together to achieve. And I don't mean that in some utopian sort of way. I mean, live your life. Don't be told by government who you have to cooperate with. That's kind of controlled by the laws of nature, the laws of common sense. And if every person, every family, every individual is thinking in terms of how do I provide the most value to the marketplace, then, and you continually improve, then people pull you in willingly to help accomplish what they're trying to do while also bringing you in. And that's kind of how I see the Pacers basketball team. They've bought into this. They bought into this notion that it doesn't matter. It doesn't, on any given night, Tyrese Halliburton could have 4 points or 35 points, right? On any given night, Pascal Siakam could have 14 points or 40 points. And they genuinely don't care. That's the most beautiful thing about this to me, is that they are thinking about the goal, which is to win the championship. It doesn't matter how we get there. It doesn't matter who the MVP is. That's part of the NBA culture, the sports culture, which player was the most important. And I get it. I mean, we all can see the players who are the ones who maybe take over a game or who are called upon in critical moments, but no player is going to go out there and win it by himself. There are things that are happening even from the most unnoticeable player on the court that is contributing to either the team's success or failure. And it's a beautiful thing to watch a team, a group of guys who, I mean, listen, these guys have all been told they're great for their entire lives because they're fantastic athletes. They've dominated at some level, whether it was college, high school, whatever, before getting to the NBA. And now they've bought into this. I love this. I just think there's so many lessons, anecdotes, metaphors that can be pulled from this. And it's exciting along the way. So I'll stop talking about this. I'm at the end of this, the first hour. We'll shift gears in the next hour, but I'm going to stop talking about this. But I am going to say good luck to my Indiana Pacers. Best wishes. Let's go get this done on Sunday night at 8 p.m. Let's bring home the NBA championship, folks. Got to run here, SDG.